It's the American Cup Championship, and two titans of the chess world are ready to battle. Laurel Aronian has white against the formidable Fabiano Caruana. Let's get to the action. Aronian opens with e4, and Caruana responds with the Sicilian defense. White chooses the Moscow variation, with a bishop check to b5, leading to a solid strategic setup after black develops. The players enter a complex strategic middle game. Both sides fianchetto their bishops and solidify their central control, with white pushing the pawn to d4 and black tucking the king away safely by castling. White pushes the e-pawn to e5, kicking the knight back. Black resolves the central tension by capturing the pawn on e5, leading to a clearer pawn structure as the knight repositions. Aronian develops his bishop out to f4, but this is a slight inaccuracy. It lets black equalize completely. The engine preferred starting action on the queen side immediately, with the pawn pushed to a4. And Caruana takes full advantage. His knight jumps to the excellent e6 square, and he expands on the queen side with pawn pushes to b5 and c4, achieving a very comfortable and equal position. And here, Caruana plays the pawn to h6. It's a useful move, but a bit too slow, and it hands the initiative back to white. The stronger move was queen to b6, immediately challenging white's control of the center. Aronian immediately seizes the chance, fixing a weakness with h4. He then challenges on the queen side with a4, opening lines after the pawn trade for his rooks, which now take control of the central files. Caruana is under pressure and needs to find the right defensive move. He has a chance to neutralize white's most active piece, but he misses it. The much stronger try was capturing the knight on e4. After the queen recaptures, the knight would jump to c5, and after queen to e3, black could trade rooks on d1, easing the pressure. But in the actual game, Caruana drops the bishop back to c6, and the opportunity to simplify is gone, and now it's Aronian's turn to slip. With a chance to press his advantage on the king side, he makes a serious mistake that throws it all away. The winning idea was to push the pawn to h5. After bishop takes the knight on e4, white recaptures, and if pawn to g5, the bishop just drops back to b1, and white's attack is crashing through. Instead of that, Aronian plays the pawn to b3, and this allows Caruana to completely take over. A quick exchange on the b-file follows as black's pawn captures on b3 and white's bishop immediately recaptures. And now, Caruana uncorks a stunner. The knight leaps to c5. This is a brilliant sacrifice, blowing the position wide open to launch a devastating attack. What a move! Aronian accepts the challenge, capturing the knight on c5, and Caruana's other knight immediately recaptures, keeping the tension at a maximum. Incredible! Aronian finds a brilliant reply of his own, queen to e3. This is a fantastic defensive resource, a counter-sacrifice that gives material right back to neutralize black's attack and keep the game alive. Caruana captures the knight on f3, shattering white's kingside pawn structure, but Aronian's recapture opens the g-file for his rook to join the fight. And the fireworks continue. Caruana finds another brilliant shot, queen to c6. This move repositions the queen to an absolutely dominant square, keeping immense pressure on white's position. White looks to simplify, trading rooks on d8. And Caruana finds the only correct recapture, taking back on d8 with his own rook. This is a fantastic find that keeps his advantage in this razor-sharp position. Another brilliant defensive try from Aronian. Rook to d1 is a clever sacrifice, forcing more trades to try and steer this wild game toward a draw. Incredible resourcefulness. Caruana has to take, capturing the rook on d1 with check. And Aronian finds the only move that holds, taking back with the bishop on d1. This is the correct recapture to maintain the delicate balance. The game transitions into a mind-bending endgame. Both queens and minor pieces probe for weaknesses, with white pushing a pawn to e6 and black fighting back with f5. The tension is palpable, and after all that incredible play, Caruana makes a crucial slip. He needs to keep control of the key squares, but he misplaces his knight. The correct idea was knight to c5. After queen takes the pawn on b5, the knight could capture on e6. Then, after bishop to e5, white's bishop would take the pawn on h4, and black is still in the game. But back in reality, Caruana plays the knight to c3, and this allows Aronian to seize a winning advantage. Aronian immediately captures the pawn on b5, creating a terrifying passed pawn. And that is the final decisive mistake. With the passed b-pawn racing down the board, Caruana needed to create immediate counterplay. The only chance was to push the pawn to f4. After bishop takes on f4, the queen swings to a1, king to g2, and the knight takes the bishop on d1, creating chaos. Instead of finding that desperate try, Caruana pushes the pawn to h5, a move that does nothing to stop the pawn, and now the game is over, and Aronian slams the door shut. The pawn marches forward to b6, and that is the winning move. There is absolutely no way to stop this pawn from becoming a queen. What a spectacular back-and-forth game, full of brilliant sacrifices and critical mistakes, but in the end, Aronian capitalizes on the final error to secure the victory. White wins.